Hello everyone and welcome back to Heaven's Secret 2, episode 7 of season 1. I couldn't wait to continue, so I decided to just do it immediately after the last episode. So let's see. Plague reveals new secrets, but why? Because she can. As a teenager, I dated boys, but those few romances failed. Every time I hoped that I'd become happy and feel whole in someone else's arms. But it was just the opposite. Only in solitude could I find myself. Wow. That was poetic. Oh, that's pretty. Episode 7, The Master's Ball. Again. I held the invitation to the ball in my hands. The paper was heavy. Inscript scarlet patterns cut through the text like a river of blood. The slightly raised glided letter said that Plague was pleased with me and would be happy to see me at a special ball where the wisest immortals would gather, those who swore allegiance to the horsemen. I laid the dress I chose out on the bed, but I spent about 10 minutes blankly looking from the dress to the invitation and back, consumed by doubts about whether I'd made the right decision. Mimi hated me. Mammon was dead. Who knew? Maybe Plague set it all up, and there was no order of resistance? What if I was going crazy and there was no hope? I threw the invitation on the table and started getting dressed. Okay. Ew. Ew. Okay, that's actually kind of nice. That's actually kind of fun. Honestly, I prefer this one. Honestly, now. This actually looks kind of fire. Ew. I suppose this is supposed to, I don't know, reflect. I like this one the most. I'm sorry. No, I'm gonna go with this one. I like this one the best, honestly, now. Honestly, I think this actually suits it. Alright. Shock me. What is this ball about? Ooh, nice. The event was being held on a separate island near the academy. Lucifer accompanied me to the ball. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere alone. Of course not. Other guests were flying next to us, so I kept quiet and didn't even try to talk to my master. Lucifer was also silent and looked serious. Ooh, I can give him something else to wear? Also, you know what? Yes, you deserve a new suit, Lucifer. You deserve a new suit. Look how fine he is. Sorry. From now on, Lucifer will wear the suit at official events. Aw. An angel played the piano and quietly at the reception. Hardly anyone danced. A mortal sat at round tables. The men looked like puffy penguins in tuxedos. The women were covered in fur and rhinestones, as if they were trying to distract from their wan, fearful faces. I knew many of the guests. They worked in the citadel or outside it and had some power. Maybe they're faking it just like me. They need another leader to follow. For now, there's no one else but the horsemen. And they have to wait. Plague sat at the table with Malbonte, Torrendo, and Satan. Do I really have to put myself into this? Do I really have to sit down at the table with them? Malbonte leaned over to the horsewoman and whispered something in her ear. As soon as I saw Malbonte, my cheeks flushed. Yeah. I played with fire and got burned. Let me stop. My heart started to beat faster as I remembered our kiss, which was just an experiment for him. Stop. I have to. He's my lover. This is a must. From now on, Malbonte will wear the suit at official events. Okay. Blake immediately looked at Lucifer and me. She waved her hand. No, you're not coming. I'm sorry. Lucifer stopped me with a gesture as I stepped towards them. Why? Your place is with people like you. Oh, is that how things are? He nodded at a nearby table. My gaze immediately caught on Mimi's straight back. This bitch. Oh, I can give her a new outfit too? Oh my gosh, people, like, I love the dress, but the hair? I'm gonna leave this. Was she also invited? Christopher brought her. Go. No. Lucifer brushed my hip gently, pushing me towards the table. Like I said, I started something I can't finish. Our eyes met for a fraction of a second, but the moment passed and Lucifer looked only at Blake. I started something I can't finish. I went to the table. I pulled back a chair, sat down, and timidly raised my eyes. Yeah. Mimi. She angrily threw a napkin, which she had nervously crumpled in her hands, on the table. Shut up. Shut up or I'll kill you, I swear. Her eyes flashed red with anger, but I knew it was taking a lot of effort for her not to burst into tears. She didn't want to listen to me, and what could I say to her? I wasn't allowed to talk about the order. And as Eliza said, it'd be safer for all of us if she hated me. At the end of the hall, Dinah appeared arm in arm with Lilu. Of course, and... Ooh! Yeah, no. I didn't know that this was gonna be like a thing, you know? But apparently, or at least that's what I think, that this is more like a romantic choice. I actually do believe that, because why would we be capable to like buy a new outfit for all of them? I thought this was only supposed to be for Lucifer, I don't know. So I was like, okay, let me buy something for him because he deserves it. But when I could buy something for MALBONTE as well. And then for Mimi, this is more like a romantic thing. So in their roots, I'm gonna buy their outfits. But this is MALBONTE's version. Dino behaved so freely and naturally, as if such gatherings were normal for him. He smiled when necessarily, remained silent when circumstances required it, and shook hands when expected. But as soon as he wasn't in the spotlight, his face suddenly seemed tired and haggard, and his eyes dimmed and became impenetrable. Dino noticed that I was watching him. Dino. He was about to turn away, but then looked at me again and quirked the corner of his lips in a barely noticeable smile. What's bothering you, Dino? The door swung open and War entered to the accompaniment of loud applause. He smiled broadly, proudly bowing first in one direction then the other. Of course he loves attention. Approaching his sister, he loudly declared, I see you impressed with my victory, but I hasten to assure you that you've yet to see what I'm truly capable of. He is fine. Blake, take the notes, bitch. My true power, like the taste of the lift, will be revealed gradually. Ooh. He bowed again and was about to sit down at the table when the other immortals dragged him away. They were vying for his attention and trying to curry favor with flattery. Finally, everyone took their seats. Christopher and Astaroth sat at the table with Dino and Lilu, but later on, some of them moved to our table, probably seeing the tension between Mimi and me, even from a distance. I don't remember there being this many celebrations, even in peacetime. Christopher sat facing Mimi. His hand rested on the back of her chair. He smiled as if trying to cheer Mimi up. She just snorted and shrugged her shoulders without even looking at him. Dino sat next to me. He seemed to want to say something, but hesitated. I kept wanting to ask you. Yes? We spoke in whispers and both smiled for some reason. How are you and your father doing after what happened? Dino's smile faded and he looked away. I'm trying to understand and accept him. I hope you understand me too. I will always understand you, Dino. And I hope you don't hold grudges. Oh, Dino. Dino, I love you way too much to be angry at you. He looked at Plague, then back at me. I tried to play the bad guy, but I'm not good at that. Honey, it's fine. Plague sees through my lies, so I'd rather not play. You don't need to. Simona, they're asking about you over here. You mean you're asking over here? Plague waved her hand, beaconing me. This is actually ridiculous. Christopher, Mimi, and Dino watched me tensely. Ooh, even Christopher! Simona, do you happen to know Torrendo? I do. He sat next to Satan, and they were watching me like prey. They despised me, and at the same time were glad that I was finally trapped. I left the fight too early to appreciate the deeds of Rebecca's daughter. However, it's a pity to see you at the bottom again. What should I say? I'm sorry too. I'll get back everything that was taken from me. It's probably as safe as the bottom as under a Blake's thumb. The horsewoman laughed, then theatrically wiped her mouth with a napkin as if to erase her laughter from the memory of those present. You're so witty. I know, thank you. He spoke slowly, feigning politeness. His gestures were smooth and somewhat delicate. Satan wasn't eating. His plate was empty. He just clenched his fork angrily. I didn't come here to waste time on this unclaimed. Thank you. You're so old, Satan, but still stingy with your time. You asked me to report, mistress. His behavior and the way he spat out his response were almost insulting, but Blake seemed to enjoy it. Of course, you can continue. Blake motioned for me to sit down at their table. With my departure, hell fell into chaos. Without the necessary discipline, the demons became headstrong. That Lucifer is like, I'm sorry. It took some time to remind them where they belong. I showed the underworld what would happen to those who go against the horsemen. Did you close the gates of hell? Yes, now any immortal destined for hell won't be able to enter and will end up in non-existence instead. Good. It still remains to close heaven. I have a lead, mistress. Soon we'll find those keys to Siva's gate. MALBONTE, are you sure they can lock up heaven? Yes. Honey, don't lie. I don't think that everyone can immediately end up in non-existence. Can creatures like you touch them too? Yes. This is so funny. What about the child? What about me? Yeah, Torrendo glanced at me. I paid close attention, trying to memorize everything they were discussing, but at the same time I pretended not to listen. Mistress, I'm not sure outsiders should hear this information. Thank you. Plague finished her glass and nodded. You're right, the pet should go for a walk. Satan and Lucifer, you too? Ooh! She waved her empty glass. MALBONTE, it's empty. Make me another one, or give me the damn recipe. I'll make some more. He has become the servant. I know what you're up to. Only then did I notice that Plague was pretty drunk. But how was that possible? What kind of concoction was MALBONTE given her? It's good that you understand. He was cold and unafraid, and she looked at him with a hatred that hadn't been there before. Lucifer and Satan exchanged glances and dutifully followed her orders. So Plague doesn't let them in on her special projects, only Torrendo. That's interesting. I moved away from the table, but I wanted to hear what they were talking about. I took a few inconspicuous steps as I fiddled with the leaves of a decorative plant. I pretended to be more interested in it than the nearby whispers. Torrendo noticed what I was doing and told Plague about it, but she brushed it off. Speak already, my patience is running thin. A secret follower helped us find another child. The poor thing is still small. He'll probably die. Are you sure the cat can handle it? Ooh! Without a doubt, that's exactly the kind of kid that should do it, considering what my despondent brother carries with him. Her gaze grew distant, clouded by images of the past. He probably hopes this seal won't be broken. But we've been waiting for this for so long. We've been waiting for the book of life to be found, and all the seals will be broken. I hastily moved away before they had the opportunity to pay any more attention to me. They found the lost book of life? They need to break its seals. But what for? And why do they need children? I had more questions than answers. Plague didn't make me leave. She let me hear that on purpose, but why? Maybe she doesn't consider me a threat. Malbonte returned. A waiter trotted after him, full glasses clinking. Honestly, Malbonte. I kind of can imagine what he's doing. This is so hilarious. The fact you see his smirk like he's actually just making fun of her in some way. And no batch is ready. Finally. Plague drank another glass in one gulp. Leaning back in her chair with a contemptuous grin, she stared at War, who was talking enthusiastically about something with the immortals. Just look at him. He doesn't seem to understand that he's feared and not admired. It's upsetting to watch. As soon as my brother arrived, he began getting all the attention. Have they forgotten about my power? Where is Kira? Why does she want her? She's at the academy. She should have been invited. She's also a part of this. She's actually drunk. I looked at Malbonte. What is he doing to her? He's saying I'm mixing a lot of glyph. Malbonte looked at Plague with a deep gaze that hid many thoughts and emotions. The face. I was stupid to think he was really Plague's slave. Yes. Malbonte has always been a lone wolf, following his own path, whatever it may be. He must have a plan of his own, and for that he needs to be close enough to Plague that she depends on him and won't get rid of him in a fit of rage. That drink, she doesn't know how to make it. She can't read the recipe in Malbonte's head, but she's become addicted to it, and therefore to Malbonte. That thought gave me chills. He looked at me and smiled slightly. I'm sorry. Malbonte, baby, what are you up to? What are you... What are you up to, honey? You're not gonna drop her body in the middle of the ocean, are you? War approached us. Compared to the downcast Plague, he looked cheerful and full of life. I had a chat with Satan. Sister, I think you underestimate immortals. This one has the blood of the gods running through his veins. I'm sorry? Don't compare a drop to an ocean, brother. Ooh! Satan, you let her manipulate you, but who would know better than you that such games aren't over you until fight back? Ooh! The same temper and rage that consumed Lucifer seething in him, but Satan was wise enough not to let an outburst of anger ruin everything. I will serve the hostman as long as my help is needed. But we don't need your help, my friend. These are all games, don't you see? Just like what you're doing right now. Leave that to others. You hate me, sister. Woo! War laughed and went on surrounded by guests. If not for the immortals' nervous movements and words, one might have thought they actually liked War. Plague finished yet another glass and noticed our glances angrily shouted, Go away, leave me. The horsemen can affect each other as much as they can affect us. I tried to remember everything that might be useful to the Order of Resistance. Simona, stay. Why am I not surprised? Since when does she call me by my name? Plague propped her head on her hand as she watched War chat with others. For the first time, I thought about their former lives and the world they had come from. How they grew up, how they interacted with each other. Was Plague capable of experiencing loneliness, anxiety, and fear? Yes. I don't know if I ever said that before, but every single being, doesn't matter who or what you are. You have a good and a bad side. You're not completely evil and you're not completely good either. You're both. Because you can have personality traits like, I don't know, anger, rage, possessiveness, jealousy. Those are negative emotions. Or envy. Or desire. A lot of people say that desire is also a negative personality trait. But you can have good quality personality traits like happiness, being gentle, being kind, loving, caring. Those are good things. And everyone has those. Like you are both. So you are never ever just evil or just good. You're both. Do you want me to tell you how to kill my brother? Huh? It was too good to be true. It seemed that time stopped, all the immortals disappeared, and only Plague and I remained frozen before that moment of truth. I was seized with anticipation and expectations, even if I tried not to get my hopes up. Why are you telling me this? Do you want to know or not? I would be glad to know, mistress. Plague twirled her glass wistfully, smiling at her own thoughts. Each of us brings death and takes strength from other immortals. War sows hatred and feeds on it. Ooh, that wasn't my intention. She moved a little closer, glancing at her brother, who was somewhere behind me, and again grinned maliciously. War is the easiest to kill. You just need to teach him to love. And in order to get rid of you, I have to heal you? To teach you how to heal? If she spreads plagues, as in diseases, if I teach you how to heal, can I get rid of you too? Plague looked at me, and her eyes suddenly lost their haziness and became sober and insistent. If he loves you, you can kill him. What should I say? Why should I believe you? And how do we kill you? What's in it for you? She smiled once again. Why do I always gain composure points? We all play games. She leaned back in her chair and tossed the glass. It shattered with a loud clink and shots flew in every direction. The waiter began to clean them up on his knees. Plague laughed briefly, then fell silent and twisted her lips in disgust. I don't like this place. It doesn't suit us. She got up and slowly walked towards her brother. I looked at Warren and listened to what he was saying. You are either with me or against me. There is no other choice. Everyone must take a side or be destroyed. He said it all with a smile, with a kind of childish simplicity. But his low voice and smooth manner managed to be both terrifying and alluring. I wanted to believe his every word. I wanted to follow him. This must be a trap. Plague can't be crazy enough to tell me a secret like that. But it would make sense. Plague hugged War, whispered something in his ear and dragged him towards me. What is she doing? Brother, you're not paying attention to my little pet at all. Why don't you two dance? She's not actually doing this, is she? She's like, yeah, come here. Let me introduce you to this little pet of mine. She is amazing. She's gonna make you drop at your feet. She's gonna make you drool. And then she's gonna murder you. This is insane. This is funny. With her? With me. He looked at me in surprise. What's wrong? Just because I'm not as strong as you doesn't mean that I don't know what to do. There was no contempt, no arrogance, only confusion. What's wrong with me? She is a pet. Why should I talk to her? Thank you. He seemed to perceive me as a thing or a piece of meat that should have been served for dinner. War, be careful what you're doing. But he was being so sincere that somehow I wasn't even offended. She's not just a pet anymore. She's a warrior. War stared at me again, even more surprised. She can't even break a match, and you call her a warrior. Why are you messing around like this? War grinned and held out his hand to me. Well, let's dance, pet. He's not actually calling me pet. I jumped up from my seat, gave him a slightly annoyed look, and put my hand in his. He led me to the center of the hall and put his arm around my waist, but he kept me at a distance as if he was uncomfortable or embarrassed by my proximity. That's so funny, actually. This scene is actually so surreal. Didn't get a chance to dance with Astaroth, but with War we can. War fixed his gaze somewhere above my head. I kept silent. Dino froze near his table, clutching the stem of his glass in his hands. He looked devastated. Oh, Dino! Lucifer looked only at the horseman with open animosity. Show me Malbonte. Malbonte didn't take his eyes off me. I knew that he noticed every nervous movement, every emotion, and every change in my expression. These episodes keep on getting better and better. This is actually hilarious. Like, he's actually just the eyebrow. You know I'm a fan of the eyebrow. I don't know for those who watched my Eldaria reactions, I always comment on Lance's eyebrow. It's the same here. This is so funny. The way he's like, I'm sorry. This could be jealousy or confusion. Mimi was talking about something with Christopher, but when she saw me with War, she fell silent and stopped paying attention to her companion, who was trying to prove something to her. She only looked at me. Mimi. I'm heartbroken. My heart is shattered for Mimi. So you're on her side. I shuddered when I heard his voice. People, I'm actually imagining him having this insane, powerful voice. Like, as soon as he talks, you immediately just get startled, you know? This insane, powerful, and hard voice. You hear it and it sounds like thunder. Oh my god. Entirely. That's good. But your mother ran away. She's against us. If you see her, what will you do? I'm gonna stab her because she's a bitch. I would be glad to see her. I felt his muscles tense up. In matters like these, family ties should be of no importance to you. If your mother is against us, then she's our enemy. Do you really believe what you're saying? Wara looked directly at me for the first time. What kind of question is this? A normal question. You really believe that just because someone is not on your side yet, he can't be or something? I understand it's your nature, but do you honestly believe all this? Do you like to hate him when others hate? It makes me stronger. But are you happy because of that? It makes you stronger. You love to be strong, I would think. The way he's acting and all. But does it actually make you happy? Yeah, but do you like it? For a while he just looked into my eyes. Then he stared forward again. His long, strong fingers tightened around my waist. Compared to him, I felt like a straw doll that he could tear apart or simply blow away with his breath. The horsemen are strong, but somewhat childlike. It's funny. You think you can affect what happens? I don't. Everything was predetermined hundreds of thousands of years ago. This battle may have been paused, but we will finish it. He only talks about one thing. If I want to make him fall in love with me, I need to change the topic. She actually wants him to fall in love with her. Like, I wouldn't mind him being in love with me. Like, he's fine. But, I wouldn't want to do that just to kill him. Nah. But am I really going to do this? Blake must be lying. It can't be true. What should I ask him? And the dance. Tell me about yourself. Teach me how to be strong like you. He would be laughing at that. Are you friends with your brothers and your sister? Tell me about yourself. I'm the horseman of war. I have no equal in combat. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What are you like when no one sees you? My question baffled him. Why do you ask? I'm curious. Yeah. Like I said, I'm good. His face suddenly changed, his features smoothened, slightly becoming softer.
Back in my world, there is a river of blood. I loved sitting on its bank. My sister considers you weak and worthless. I agree, but we have something in common. That's not surprising, because we are all children of the universe. I've been to a river in this world too, but I didn't like it. It was colorless and too noisy.
You're more human than I thought. He stopped abruptly and looked at me with some hostility. Ooh, not those eyes, sir. Calm down. Don't play clear from legacies.
All you need to know about me is that I will bring your world to ruin.
He regrets telling me too much. What should I ask him? Are you friends with your brothers and your sister?
What is friendship but the invention of weak immortals who fear loneliness and having enemies?
Having a friend is knowing that someone cares about you and values you. The way he's like silent. Which and it immediately ended. Teach me how to be strong like you. Who's gonna laugh? War was surprised at first and smiled contentedly and said,
I'm afraid that's impossible.
But I know, but maybe just a little.
You have no power.
You're an empty weasel. Thank you. MALBONTE already told me that. His words hurt me. I blinked and looked away. You're right, but it wasn't always like this.
An immortal strength is part of him. I'm sorry.
I didn't expect to hear something like that from him. I instinctively squeezed his hand, then quickly looked into his eyes. Thank you. And thanks. I let go of his hand and took a step back. Then I curtsied and said, looking into his eyes, Thank you for the dance, master. War only nodded slightly, but he looked both perplexed and interested.
My pleasure.
Can I say that I like War? I actually like War. Like, besides the fact that he wants to cause chaos and destruction, he actually seems like a decent human being, you know? He returned to play, sat down at the table, and drank a glass of Glyft. I watched him for a while. War can be brutal and cold, but there's a lot of fire inside him and a longing for calmness. During the dance, he managed to learn quite a bit about War. Your questions pleasantly surprised him. Okay. Torrendo returned. He was leading a woman by the hand. Next to her was a boy. He looked alert and wild like a wolf cub. Uh-oh. Oh, God. A hybrid. Yeah. War patted the child's shoulder. Blake talked about something with Torrendo, and the woman and the boy moved to the far corner of the hall as if to avoid the immortals. Who are they? Talk to them. I quietly made my way to them so as not to attract unwanted attention. The woman shuddered when I addressed her, and the boy only lazily turned his head in my direction. I haven't seen you around before. My name is Simona. I extended my hand, but the stranger stared at me as if I had pointed a gun at her. Why? What's your name? Oh, she's pretty. Oh no, I feel bad. I have a horrible sensation. Oh, Lisa, this is my son Tito.
Rokroshas?
What? That sounds that Tito made were familiar to me. The sounds that Tito made were familiar to me. They were heavy, drawn out, as if coming from somewhere deep in his belly. I couldn't confuse them with anything else. How does your son know the language of darkness? There is language of darkness. Out of everyone I've met, only MALBONTE knew this language. He's a hybrid. Instead of answering, Alusa pressed her son to her and looked at me even more fearfully. I didn't mean to scare you. I just want to get to know you. The woman seemed to calm down a bit. She released her son and even smiled meekly. Do you know Blake? Yes. Oh. Did she hurt you? Elisa looked thoughtfully at the horseman. Blake isn't all that bad if you're obedient. Right. Have we met before? How long have you been dead? I haven't been dead at all. What? You're human, aren't you? When did you become immortal? More than 10 years ago. Then we haven't met. Stop! Was she a former human? Were you immortal too? No. Eliza smiled sadly at her thoughts. I haven't spoken in a long time. Sometimes I imagine that I'm talking to my sister so I don't get so lonely. People, I'm getting really bad back flashes from when I was sick. This is breaking me. Where is your sister now? She's no longer with me. She reminds me of someone. She actually reminds me of someone. I'm sorry.
I'm afraid the young unclaimed is too curious. Torrendo, you're still here.
Still being a stick in the mud.
Eliza, you and Tito shouldn't talk to this person.
Torrendo, want me to kick your balls? Okay. But we were just talking.
Sometimes that's all it takes. Strength. Eliza, let me take you to the next room where you can rest.
Thank you, Lord Torrendo. Lord Torrendo. What? I can't speak that. Honestly, I think it's horrible that we can't understand what he's saying. Perhaps MALBONTE shows up and starts talking to him in the language of darkness. Haha. The boy addressed Torrendo, whose expression became stern but attentive.
No, Tito.
Do you know the language of darkness? He stopped and smiled, but somewhat nervously.
What makes you think that's the language of darkness?
Because I know. I know what it sounds like. That. We heard it many, many times.
I can speak it. Now let us pass.
Right. I reluctantly stepped aside. You can't speak it, but you understand it? Girl, he's just like you then. You can't speak it, but you can understand it. The evening was beginning to annoy me. Everyone avoided me and fell silent as soon as I approached. It seemed they had decided not to notice me. I looked around for Lucifer. He was furiously trying to prove something to his father. Still, I get it. I'm the same. He looked at him as if he were a boy that didn't understand anything. Ah, Satan, why are you back? Lucifer was no longer afraid of Satan. Yes, Lucifer, yes. He finally grew the balls. Let me stop. Satan has lost his balls a long time ago, and Lucifer finally found his. Dino danced with Lilu, but they didn't look like a happy couple in love. Well, thank you. They whispered endlessly about something, and they both looked too focused and serious. And yet, seeing his hands on her waist and their closeness, realizing the intimacy of their relationship, I was seized by jealousy, yes. I turned away. I leaned against the column and looked sadly into the distance. Dark clouds floated lazily across the starry sky. And the sound of thunder in the distance reminded me that the world wasn't ending then and there, that perhaps there were places where everything was fine. From afar, the flying islands seemed like small cobblestones or fragments of an asteroid. Maybe the horsemen were ordinary aliens who decided to enslave the whole world. And maybe all those conspiracy theorists were telling the truth when they went on and on about being abducted for experiments. That's so hilarious. I smiled at my childish thoughts as if for a moment I'd gone back to being immortal. I turned around sharply, feeling someone's gaze on me. Who is it? MALBONTE? I was waiting for this man to show up finally. He did smirk back then when he was drugging our little plague. MALBONTE was standing a short distance away by another column. What you mean? He looked at me, but then slowly looked away and also stared at the night sky.
You shouldn't stick your nose where it doesn't belong.
Now, is that how things are? Now you're trying to teach me as well? Are you threatening me or looking out for me? That's actually so hilarious. Are you threatening me or are you looking out for me? Come on.
I'm warning you.
You're warning me? Why? If you're warning me, that means that you are looking out for me. Because if you would be threatening me, you would literally not do it at such a distance. Like, he's not even standing next to us. I have the feeling if he shows that he cares, Play could notice that and use that to her advantage. Okay? Like, he's standing away from us, but he's still letting us know that he's worried. He is worried about us. Why say that he warns us and not stand in front of us? Like, if you threaten someone, you don't stand away from them, like, not looking at them at all. I'm pretty sure he's, like, looking at the sky and saying those words. Like, he's not even looking at us. That just says everything I need to know. Like, he's looking out for us. I'm warning you. No, you're not. It looks like Plague has suspicions about the Order of Resistance. I clung to the railing. What order are you talking about? Malbonte didn't react in any way to my desperate attempt at hiding my connection to the Order. He continued, "Stay out of my way." What do you mean? You're in my way. So I'm pretty sure he's the leader at this point. If he says stay out of my way. I moved closer to him and lowered my voice to a whisper. We moved closer. That's funny. He should have moved closer. We're always the ones making the first step. Part of the Order? Malbonte pursed his lips as if that were beneath him. No, I'm on the Horseman's side. Right. Where is she? Is she behind us? From the way he said it, I could tell he wasn't lying. But that only made things more confusing. But then why are you... Malbonte quickly turned, grabbed my wrist, and squeezed it lightly. I froze, frightened by his icy gaze. Remember the time we fought each other, and I asked you to join me? Yes. It was all about your strength. I needed it. Now that power is gone, and you shouldn't get in my way. Uh-huh. He spoke with calm, terrible indifference, like a robot reciting the text embedded in its memory. I don't believe you. You wanted me to be on your side for more than just my power. That's not true. Keep on lying, sir. You never lie to me. That. You said you'd kill everyone I cared about if they turned against you. You fulfilled your promise. His eyelashes fluttered, and that simple human response dispelled the robotic impression I had of him. Then here's my next promise to you. Stay out of my way or I'll kill you. He came closer, looming over me like a stone statue, just as beautiful and impassive. If Plague tires of you playing detective, she'll kill you or ask me to do it. And because you're her slave, you're gonna do everything she says. You will die. No one will save you. If I didn't know you, I'd think you were worried. He is worried. But I honestly like that she's like playing it out like this. If I didn't know any better, I think you're worried about me, because we all know he always is. He never said things directly, because for those who played the Malbonte version in Heaven's Secret, he never says things directly. He said he's not good with words. Okay, he prefers to let his actions speak. And that's when he started to kiss us. Then we had sex, etc. So, you know, for the people that played the Malbonte version back in the day. He can't say it, but he lets his actions speak. He is worried about us. And he's like, if you don't do as she says, she's gonna kill you, or she's gonna ask me to do it, and I'm gonna have to kill you. Okay? So it's literally like him saying, please stop playing detective and stop trying to figure things out, because it's only gonna get you killed in the end of the day. And I don't want to kill you. This is what I got out of that entire context. Okay? And again, a shadow passed over his face. So quickly, it was as if it never happened. Malbonte stepped back and turned away. I looked at him expectantly. Do you want them to destroy the whole world? Why would you need that? I took him by the arm and looked into his black eyes. Yes, take control, girl. Let's go.
You're looking at everything as black and white again. Don't be like that. Don't be like what? It's not that simple.
When has anything in life ever been simple? He covered my fingers with his and squeezed them. That's everything I need to know. That's everything I need to know. Everything. My reflection was correct. That was everything I needed to know. He doesn't want to hurt us. He doesn't want us to get hurt. And especially he doesn't want to be the person that kills us. He doesn't want to know that we are dead. And he doesn't want to be the person that has to kill us. Like the person that has to torture us. So, that's everything I needed to know. His hand was hot and rough. His gesture decisive and domineering. Reminiscent of his entire essence. I suddenly wanted to press myself close to him, tell him not to do it, and ask for his help. Why ask for his help? He was so strong and confident. I wanted to learn from him. Oh, you want him to teach you? Why? You became close. Yes, thank you. Let me stop. MALBONTE took my fingers and slowly removed them from his elbow.
Enough?
No. He turned around and headed towards Blake. I hate you. I hate you. Yeah, me. After our conversation, I sat down in a chair and wearily waited for the event to end. Honestly, I would have just gone out, like sit on, I don't know, a bank somewhere. I don't know. On a bit of stone and try to forget everything that's going on the inside. In the end, the ball became an exhausting, drawn-out affair where it was impossible to learn anything new, talk or unwind. Finally, it came to a close, and Lucifer and I silently flew back to the academy. The whole next day I lay in bed, thinking about everything I had heard. I was eager to tell the order about it, and waiting for Blake to leave the academy was agonizing. The horseman finally flew somewhere after sunset. I clung to the window, not believing my luck. "10 minutes later, my boots were splashing through the puddles on the way to the cemetery. I put a note with everything I'd learned in the agreed-upon place. All I had to do was wait for an answer. I walked along the rows, pretending that I came there to think, to be alone, or to grieve about the past. As I was returning, I saw Dino and Lilo in the distance. They were arguing about something. At first, I considered going around and slipping by unnoticed, but when I got closer, Lilo was gone. Seeing Dino alone, I darted behind a tree and, pressing close to the trunk, began watching him. Dino nervously ruffled his hair and then he slammed his fist angrily against the pillar near the entrance to the Garden of Adam and Eve. I shuddered. It was hard for me to remember when I last saw him so angry. I don't like him like that. He's entitled to his feelings, whatever they are. I'll accept him no matter what. Okay, I have the feeling that that thing below is a romantic choice, but since you don't have to pay for that, I think it would increase the relationship with him, so I'll accept him no matter what. Your relationship with Dino improves. Let's go.
Come out. I know you're there.
He turned around. Dino looked tired, devastated. He didn't even try to hide it. What happened?
Helplessness.
Aren't we all? He smiled in such a forced way that my heart sank. What's going on between you and Lilo? You seem to be fighting all the time. He looked at me strangely, then smiled and shook his head.
It's not like that. Not exactly.
What do you mean?
We just look at things a little differently, but we're on the same side.
I'm starting to feel like the only side left is the horseman's.
It's...
A smile appeared on Dino's face again, as if that could erase the words that wanted to escape his lips. Instead of answering, he came closer and touched my shoulders. He started rubbing them in a simple human way, not using his immortal abilities.
It's cold out here, and you can't control your body temperature. Aren't you cold?
I've already gotten used to it. I don't notice it anymore. Dino's hand stopped, and his expression changed.
I'm truly sorry. If only I could fix things. If only I could do things differently.
Honey, it's not your fault. His thoughts and feelings seemed to suffocate him. And what would you do if you could change things? I'm sorry, what's this outfit? I just noticed that. That's not the outfit that he had in the episodes before. I'm not stupid.
I'd protect you.
I know. I love you so much.
I protect you the way I want.
I know. I started trembling under his hands. It hurt to hear those words. I wanted to erase them from my memory, close my ears and not hear anything, because as soon as I returned to my room, the loneliness would devour me. Nope. I cannot start something. I can't. I really, really can't. Those are all romantic choices. And I'm actually dying that I can't play them. But I can't. I pulled away from Dino. Those are romantic choices. I can't take the romantic choices. But we're only allowed to do what the horseman orders us to. I looked away so Dino wouldn't notice the tears welling up in my eyes. I'm pretty sure he noticed. He was always a very attentive person. It's really cold here. I'll go.
Yes, of course. Go.
Look at Dino. He called out to me when I was halfway there, but I pretended not to hear. The order's response will come soon. I need to be ready for anything. I'm dying. I'm dying for everyone. The wait was excruciating. I was lying in bed, staring thoughtlessly at the wall and tapping the pillow with my fingers, counting the minutes. At some point, my train of thought broke down entirely, and dozens of incoherent thoughts began to pop up one after another, in a chaotic bacchanalia. I felt like my brain was trying to solve a riddle. I considered my behavior and the behavior of those around me. Why was Blake asking about Kira? How are all these kids connected? But soon I began to think about something else. About MALBONTE. Yeah. With him, I seemed to be stronger, as if I drew on his strength. And at the same time, the understanding of my insignificance made me weaker. About Lucifer. With him, I felt alive. Wow. I knew I started something, okay? As if nothing had changed, as if I still meant something. He filled me with energy. Was my desperate loneliness throwing me into the arms of one and then other? I knew I started something! See, because Dino right now is not being mentioned, I knew I started something. Was I running towards them or away from my own emptiness? I needed to understand that before I got lost in my attempts to clutch at even scraps of warmth. A knock on the door interrupted my introspection. I rushed to open it, delighted by the distraction from my thoughts. Miss Selena stood on the threshold completely out of breath. Her wide eyes looked at me with a faint but desperate hope. What happened? Mimi, she wants to run away. Mimi. Oh, God. If she tries to run away, it's over. It's over for her. Miss Selena grabbed my hands and clasped my fingers. Simoya, you have to stop her, because if she gets caught... Oh, Sifa, if she gets caught, she'll have a hard time. There is a dome over the school, and if you leave its confines without an escort, MALBONTE or Plague and War will immediately come and kill you. She looked at me again with eyes full of helplessness and fear. That look seemed familiar to me. Where is she? Let me go. Ooh, Addie and Sammy. Yes, it's my friendship group. It's the friends I always wanted to have. Addie and Sammy held on to Mimi's hands, preventing her from soaring into the sky. That I imagine this scene. I'm imagining this scene and it already looks so hilarious to me.
Stop kicking.
Addie.
Let's talk.
Sammy. Mimi struggled, screamed, cried, and threatened them. Ooh! I mean, like I said, Mimi is a warrior. Like, you can chop off her wings, but sooner or later, the self-confidence will come out. She was like a fluttering bird in the hands of a hunter. Mimi.
You wanna take this?
What? Take what? Sammy threw me a golden... Yeah, those cords that were so powerful to make someone bow down. That is more powerful than I don't know what. They used that on Lucifer when he wanted to go down to hell. Seraph Crowley used that on him. Yeah. And when the war broke out. Sammy threw me a golden cord to tie her wings. I'll help, Miss Lena. We ran up to Mimi and, trying to dodge her chaotic strikes, began to tie up her wings. I can't be anymore. Let me go. Oh, Mimi. I mean, what do you expect from Mimi? Her mother left, even though Mimi doesn't know that her mother told us a few things. Like, she didn't actually leave her. But she doesn't know that, so it feels like she died. Like, she left her there. Mammon died because of us. And she lost her father and us as well. And she's being the pet of a hybrid. Like, I'm sorry, I understand her. Instead of answering, we wrapped the cord around her, but Mimi kept wriggling free. It hurt to see her like that, broken, lonely, and embittered with the whole world. I won't let you die. It's done, sweetheart. Mimi's wings were being squeezed unnaturally by the restraint. She must have been in pain. She burst into tears, but not from that. She fell to her knees and covered her face with her hands. Someone kill Blake! Mimi! People, I'm gonna start crying. It's not fair. Addie and Sammy let her go.
We're sorry, Mimi.
Addie. Yeah. That's the worst thing you could tell her. Because you are an immortal and she as well. But you can live your freedom with your lover while she is being mistreated just like every other unclaimed. We bowed our heads sympathetically and stood at a distance. As if at a funeral, Mimi didn't move and only cried, but then she suddenly jumped up and ran.
Where are you going?
She must be stopped. Mimi, this won't bring Mammon back. Yeah, do not talk about Mammon. You won't get rid of me that easily. Don't be a child. Yeah, you won't get rid of me that easily. I ran after her as fast as I could. Why are you following me? I don't know, because I don't want you to die. Malbonte will kill you if you run away. I don't care. Yeah, that. I don't think she cares at this point anymore. She feels like she lost everyone. We were quickly approaching a rocky wall, but there was a gap underneath. Mimi dropped onto her back from a run and deftly slid to the other side. Oh shit. I almost hit my head on a sharp ledge, but I dodged it in time and crawled after her, albeit much more slowly. Mimi managed to get away from me. Faster, Simona, come on. My chest ached from how fast I was running. My body was bound by the limits of human ability. Yeah, we don't have anything supernatural anymore, but I didn't give up. I had to save Mimi from herself. I managed a final surge of speed and threw myself right onto her back. Let's go. Hey! Yes! We tumbled to the ground. Ouch! Sorry. I pinned Mimi with the weight of my body, pressing her into the grit and small stones that broke away from the rocky surface. Then I rolled onto my back and struggled to catch my breath. I shouldn't have stopped training. I looked over at Mimi and froze when I saw that she was silently crying. What do you expect? Honestly, I could murder everyone. Everyone. Without hesitation. I looked over at Mimi and froze when I saw that she was silently crying. She still lay on her stomach, but with her face buried in her hands. I hate you. I hate that you betrayed my dad. That, like we were her best girlfriend, you know. I want to get away from here. Yeah, she has the feeling that she can't trust anyone anymore. I crawled up to her and put my arms around her shoulders. That's the worst thing you could do. The sight of her tears made everything inside me shrivel up and ache for her. I cried with her, hugging her as tightly as my weak human arms, devoid of immortal strength, would allow. At first, Mimi pushed me away, but she gradually relaxed. She rested her face against my chest, seeking support. And there we sat, dirty and disheveled, crying until there were no tears left at all. Go with the song of Ariana Grande. No tears left to cry. Her warmth, fragility, and trust, despite everything, were a glimmer of light for me, who had been blinded by darkness. I clung even closer to her, as if I feared she might suddenly push me away and run again, without looking back towards death. But Mimi didn't. Oh god, no, this is... But honestly, I'm so happy to know that Mimi is a love interest. Like, I actually thought they, cut her off, because, the first time I played episode 4, there were no romantic choices for her at the ball, so I was like, okay, she's not a love interest anymore. But now, if she can kiss us, that means that she's a love interest, okay? But like I said, that's for the Mimi version. I'm in the MALBONTE version. I already started shit with MALBONTE and Lucifer. She's conflicted between the two of them, and that means that I screwed up big time, okay? So I can't do any more of these choices. She raised her head, looked into my eyes, and then she thanked me. Thanks for stopping me. You've got Miss Selena to thank for that. She told me about your intentions. She smiled weakly as if she had no strength left at all. Do we blame her? You wanted to explain something to me. Now I'm ready to listen. Just tell me why you did it. Mimi! She's crying. All the tears. Why? The episodes keep on becoming more and more heartfelt. These episodes are playing with my heartstrings. I thought I was helping. I didn't know that Mammon would really be there. I thought it was a trap for Blake. I'm sorry, Mimi. I'm ruining everything as usual. She wiped away her tears and sighed heavily. I can't believe he's gone. But the voice of Miss Selena and the guys came from the distance. They called out to us, sounding more excited and impatient by the minute. It looks like it's time for us to go back. The smile. Yes, let's go. We managed to get back through the gap and walk towards the school. The guys ran up to Mimi, hugged her, and began lightly, playfully bumping her shoulders and arms for worrying them. Aww.
I think it's time we locked you in the basement.
Damn, Addie!
Don't do that again.
Addie and Siri, they are so cute. I love them. I'm glad that everything worked out. Miss Selena looks so pretty and has a secret too. Please forgive me. No, Mimi, you have every reason to be upset. You have every reason. Christopher, why is this bitch here? I do not need to see you.
What are you doing?
Nothing that concerns you.
Do you want me to punish you?
Is that how things are? If anything, she's gonna punish your ass. Christopher descended the stairs in a rage, shouting threats. Why don't you try it? That, Mimi.
It won't touch you, Mimi.
Christopher, maybe we can keep this a secret. He nervously straightened his clothes and looked at Miss Selena strangely, as if she had offended him.
I wasn't going to tell anyone about it, but if Blake finds out, I'll have to punish her.
Christopher grabbed Mimi by the arm and pulled her towards the school. Leave her alone. Yes, Sammy. Mimi. She pushed Christopher away and turned to us. It's okay. I can handle it. Don't worry. Mimi is literally the legend in this entire second season. in the entire season. Then she looked angrily at her master. If you touch me again, I'll break your arm. Understand? That, Mimi.
And I'll break your arm if you put yourself at risk so stupidly.
Christopher, you got feelings for Mimi? It's none of your business what I do. She ran inside.
Crazy girl.
Addie, you know Mimi.
I can understand
that, Sammy.
I can understand her. It's because of you, Simona. I'm sorry.
Addie. Confused, I looked away from the school to the guys. Mammon shouldn't have died. The order must have answered by note by now. I ran to the cemetery.
Simona.
There was no more time for remorse. If war really could be killed, I should do it. Without looking back, without hesitation, and completely devoid of fear, I headed to the appointed place. The note was already there waiting for me. I grabbed it and eagerly began to read the perfectly aligned letters. Act. Yes. O.R. The message immediately burned. Ashes and small burnt pieces of paper slowly fell at my feet. They wanted me to make war fall in love with me. I was determined, but their go-ahead made me realize that I wasn't ready to pretend. And how can I make a horseman fall in love with me? Path of composure. Love is just a release of oxytocin, right? My presence should please war. But what would he like? Talking about battles, bowing to him. Honestly, I think he's a man that would like you to resist him, if anything. But before you can do that, you have to pique his interest. And I think you already got that when you talked at the ball. I'll bow to him. I'll say the words he wants to hear. The road back to school was filled with doubts and endless thoughts. And therefore, when I saw war was about to descend from the sky, everything inside me turned upside down from excitement. He landed behind me. The ground trembled and everything shook a little. I didn't turn around at first and stood rooted to the spot, confused about what to do.
Plague's pet.
Thank you. I have a name. That. I turned to him and looked into his eyes. He began to approach me.
My sister has spoiled you. Why does she let you talk to us like this?
Because I can. War walked past me heading to the school. I shouted after him. She doesn't want us to be afraid of her. She wants us to feel strong, then to be disappointed and discouraged each time our strength isn't enough. War stopped and laughed softly.
Yes, you're right.
Of course, he went on. I need to spend more time with him if I want him to fall in love with me. Suggest a walk. I don't know. Would you like to take a walk?
With you?
No, with the air. Is someone else here? His surprise seemed sincere. Or am I unworthy of that? The face. The face of us.
Do you consider yourself an important person?
No, but I'm not unworthy either. I used to be one.
No, not to us.
I need to change tactics. I impulsively stepped towards him and managed a flirtatious, slightly embarrassed look. It'd be an honor to spend time with you, master. That's hilarious. He stared at me incredulously, then nodded sharply.
You're the first one who's wanted to go for a walk with me instead of just talking and asking for something in return.
You're jumping to conclusions. Maybe I just haven't made my request yet. That! He laughed and began to wander down the academy halls. I joined him.
Okay, so what is your request?
Nothing. We'll get back to that.
Do you think I'll give you that much time?
Fine, I'd like to know you better.
This is your request?
Yes.
Maybe you should ask for mercy. Plague knows nothing of it.
I'm sorry, but they're dissing each other. This is so funny. No need. He shrugged his shoulders as if he felt uncomfortable and cautiously said,
The longer I'm here, the weirder you seem to me.
Thank you. It's okay if you think I'm weird. That means I'm not normal to you. Normal is boring.
Well, soon I'll direct my powers towards Earth. The mortals will throw themselves into the flames of war and be plunged into an ocean of blood and hatred. I was preparing the Earth for this. I went down to them and directed their anger towards each other. I don't need to get blood on my hands when others can do that for me.
Oh, so you're lazy.
So my seed of hatred will sprout, and you will be able to admire the result.
So the horsemen must destroy not only our world, but the human world as well. It's useful information, but it's not enough. No, that's not what I was asking. I wanted to know what the horsemen of the apocalypse is like. Do you only like to fight? What do you dream about? What are you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything.
Are you sure about that? Aren't you afraid to die? Even though he probably would say I'm powerful enough, so no one would be capable to kill me. He laughed as if the very idea was absurd.
And I dream of seeing the fruits of my labor. I've been waiting for this for so long.
It's like you're telling me someone else's dreams. Don't you have any of your own? Like starting a family? Not starting a family.
Family? For us, there's no such thing. We don't have any need for that.
In the time you've been here, I've learned a few things. We're all alike, even though our strengths differs. And since we're similar, it means our needs must also be similar. You've probably just never thought about it. War was silent, looking at his feet, then abruptly straightened up and gazed into the distance. What are you two cooing about? Blake wants to know the tea. I'm pretty sure that she knew what she was doing. I shuddered at the sight of Blake.
We're talking. These creatures seem to enjoy poking around on the minds of strangers.
That's hilarious. You're slowly but surely getting closer to his heart, okay? Worrell looked at me distantly, then turned on his heel and walked away. Honestly, I feel bad. I wouldn't want someone to... I mean, I know that he's evil, but I wouldn't want to use someone like this. Even though I know that what he's doing, like he's actually using hatred and war to destroy everything around him. Like, that's evil. But I wouldn't want to kill someone. Like, I can't do that. I hate this. Blake just laughed, winked at me, and followed her brother. Like, she knows. This was literally like her saying to us, "Good girl." She knew what I was after. Is this a setup after all? Yes. Whatever the case, I should still at least try. I returned to my room. This was literally her saying, "Good girl." Oh, God. Moonlight infiltrated the room, illuminating my crumpled bed and scattered belongings. I used to be orderly and meticulous, especially over the last few years, but apparently I'd begun to express my inner mess externally as well. I wanted to wash away the presence of the horsemen, which seemed to seep into my skin. The emotions they sowed were like an infection that entered the blood, slowly spreading and growing stronger. I couldn't understand who was responsible for the oppressive sense of inevitability I was experiencing, Blake or me. Suddenly the door of my room opened slightly. Frightened by the unexpected visit, I turned around, only to exclaim in relief. "Mimi, what are you doing?" She resolutely approached me. "I know what's happening." What is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? She knows what's going on. Well, alright, this was a nice continue of this episode. And I started something I can't finish. And honestly, I think this is gonna be a little more chaotic, but in a good way. Yeah. And this also means that when I play the story again to do the other routes, I won't have to pay so much gems because I already paid for them. But yeah, I like this. Honestly, I think that War is the nicest one from these two horsemen. And honestly, I'm intrigued to know what he truly is like, because I think that just spreading war and everything is not who he truly is. It's just like him he knows that this is who he is, so he just does it, but without actually thinking about it or the consequences. He just says, yeah, I'm the horseman, my name is War, so I have to spread war to create what I was always destined to do, you know? To destroy Earth, to destroy heaven, to destroy hell, and I'm gonna do everything there is. So, you know? But yeah. I started something with Lucifer and Malbonte, and honestly, this is gonna be a lot more chaotic because I don't know if you guys remember, but in Heaven's Secret, Malbonte couldn't stand Lucifer, and that wasn't just because he's the son of Satan, so he would have been the heir of hell. No, I actually think because he saw that every single time, because I'm pretty sure that you all remember that we could see Malbonte's past and he could see ours, and every single memory that he saw from us, Lucifer was in it. So he was jealous. Okay? And perhaps this is gonna be something again this time, because I think we all noticed I played with fire. I don't think that I regret it because I'm just like that. I love to play with fire, and at the end I always get burned, so that's on me. But yeah, he was jealous back then, and perhaps this is gonna be something that repeats itself because I started to play with both of them. And she literally acknowledged it herself when she was thinking about Malbonte and then about Lucifer. Dino wasn't even in it because I didn't do many. I only did the training session with Dino. So, and with Mimi either. Like, I only did the part where I showed her that I'm there for her, like every friend would. But that's it. Like, I didn't play any romantic option. And I didn't notice that I was playing romantic options for Lucifer either. So I did myself dirty here. And let's hope that I didn't screw it up too much with Malbonte. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye!